Hello, and welcome to a particularly cold and frosty morning here in Reno, Nevada. It's the new year. Do you have any New Year's resolutions? I have a few. I'll share them in this video. But first, I'd just like to say Happy New Year. I love a new year. It feels like a blank slate and just nothing but opportunities in the year ahead. I'm still learning to use this new Insta360 Go, Ultra Go camera, and I made a couple of technical mistakes in this video. The first of which you can see right now, where I apparently had it on 2x zoom for the first third of this ride or so. I didn't realize this until I got to my first destination, so it's a little punched in, but hopefully you can kind of still see what's going on. The second mistake I made was accidentally flipping the little camera pod into a portrait orientation. I didn't realize I did this, but it's something I'm sure I won't have as much of an issue with in the future, but I'm still learning, so. The mornings this time of year are pretty frosty, but it warms up throughout the day and gets a little bit nicer. At the time of filming this, I think it was about 22 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 5.5 degrees Celsius. Not too bad as long as you bundle up. And, when I ride my bike, I get pretty warm as soon as I get moving. So I had to ditch the jacket pretty quickly. They say be bold, start cold, but I like to start warm and then drop layers so I stay warm. Today's quest is to drink some espresso, buy some coffee beans to take home, get some lunch, and bring home some pastries. We're starting out at one of my favorite coffee shops in town. It's called Drink Coffee, Do Stuff, and it's in South Reno, about 25-minute ride from my house. Generally, they make really tasty espresso drinks. So today I got a flat white, one of my preferred milk drinks. I think I drink a lot of milk espresso drinks when I go to a coffee shop just because I can't make them at home, and it's a nice treat. Ironically, one of my New Year's resolutions is to drink less caffeine, which overall I think I'm succeeding with. I love coffee very much, but I do start to rely on it a little too heavily, and I don't like the anxiety that comes with just taking on tons of caffeine throughout the day. My other resolutions are things like reading every day. That includes reading a book or reading a long-form article, and practicing Japanese every day. And I'm being a little less strict than I have been in the past. Previous years, I give myself resolutions and I say every day you have to do this. But the problem with that is that when I inevitably miss a day, it feels like I've failed that resolution and it's harder to get back on track. So this year, one of my resolutions is to just pick up whatever I said I was going to do the next day if I miss a day. And so far, that's been going really well. Give myself a little bit of latitude to get back on track, and it's been really helpful. If anybody's reading something that they're really enjoying, I would love recommendations. I'm always happy to hear about what other people are reading and what they like about it. I just finished a book called Say Nothing by Patrick Radden Keefe about the Troubles in Northern Ireland and the history of that time, which was a fantastic book, but a little depressing for me, I think. I took some breaks while I was reading it and switched to other stuff throughout the year, but I'm glad I finished it. It was really good. I do recommend it. Maybe it's just my impression as an American, but I definitely found some correlation between the events in Say Nothing and things that are going on in modern day America. So it was a little, it was interesting, a little alarming in some ways, but I think a good thing for people to pay attention to. Oh, that's a lot of mud. I've never ridden through this part of town before, so there's a lot of stopping and checking my phone and checking the map. But I really enjoyed this ride. I got to see some sections of the city I live in that I definitely haven't seen, and Found some cool little parks and some really neat houses and neighborhoods to ride through. It really is a beautiful town that I'm still just exploring the tip of the iceberg of. It also doesn't hurt that I get to do these rides on my beautiful orange Evasion. I love this bike more every time I ride it. I nicknamed it the Orange Baron, which I think is kind of fitting because sometimes when I ride it, I feel like a pilot in a fighter plane carving my way through streets and alleys. So I've never been to this area of shops by bike before, which might be evident because I spent the first 5 to 10 minutes I was here wandering around looking for somewhere that I could lock my bike up. And unfortunately, I didn't find anywhere, despite a pretty extensive search, I think, on my part, but I may have just missed them. I did find some bike parking across the parking lot at a bank. Unfortunately, it's not super close to where I was going to be, and anytime I leave my bike locked up somewhere out of eyesight, I definitely get a little bit of anxiety that it's not going to be there when I get back. The shop I'm going to is called Perrin, which is probably not the way you pronounce it, but there you go. We come here sometimes for breakfast or lunch. It's a really delicious restaurant with some great baked goods, both bread and pastries. Unfortunately, I noticed that the pastry case was pretty barren by the time I got there, which isn't unusual. A lot of people come and kind of clear it out. Luckily, while I was standing in line, they started to restock the case, so I was able to grab a couple of the pastries that I really wanted. So I would call that quest complete. Since I had already made it all the way up here, I decided it would be a good time to stop for lunch and get my favorite dish, Turkish eggs. Absolutely delicious. Every time I come, I think I get this dish.
Boy, heartbreak.
And of course, Clean Plate Club. And with that, I completed everything that I had set out to do today, which is a nice feeling of accomplishment. Now all that's left is to unlock my bike, which thankfully hadn't moved, and enjoy a nice long ride home.
Saw you in the park on Wednesday. You were dressed for sunshine. I asked how you doing today. You said you feel fine. When I look up to the sky, I think, should I even try? Will you stay or will you go? Guess I'll know tomorrow. Saw you in the street on Thursday. Rain was starting to fall. Everybody there ran away. You only walked some more. When I look up to the sky.
As I was on my way back, I spotted this nicely cared for older home that I decided to stop and get a photo of. It is also the point in our journey where I flip my camera into portrait mode inadvertently and leave it that way for the remainder of the ride. But that's okay. Mistakes happen. We just move on. I just remembered one of my other resolutions for this year is to keep a diary every day. It's something I've attempted to do a few times in the past, but this time I'm keeping each entry a little bit shorter, a little bit more concise. Try not to make it such a big time commitment to write an entry every day. And so far, it's been good. It's nice to take a moment towards the end of the day and just reflect on the things that I did. Even if it wasn't a particularly eventful day, it's nice to keep a little record of the events of the day and people I talked to, thoughts I had. It's a good thing to reflect on, I think. Do you keep a diary? I'd be curious to know how many people do, and if you find it helpful. And with that, we're just about home. I just wanted to say thank you for watching, and thank you to everybody who watched my first video and left comments and likes. I can't tell you how much that meant, and I really do truly appreciate it. I hope we all have a fantastic 2026. I think there's a lot of reasons to be hopeful for the future, even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes. Sometimes you just need a happy dog to feel good. Anyways, I'll see you next time, and take care.
Hi.